Welcome everyone back to weekly weather updates, and in today's video we have the latest from the live radar from the latest UKV, having the precipitation and the temperature over the next 5 days, as it is quietening up a little bit as we head into Friday and Saturday, as we do see a brief area of high pressure moving in from the southeast, and it is going to bring drier and warm conditions for pretty much all of the British Isles for about 48 hours. It's not a pattern change. We are going to see the unsettled conditions returning into Sunday, unfortunately, with a big area of rain. But the next couple of days, we might be able to go out and enjoy a bit of sunshine and some drier conditions. As I said, though, Sunday, we are going to see the rain return, and it is going to be pretty relentless. Similar to what we've had over the past few days, we're going to see some longer spells of rain with some big bands of precipitation coming in from the west and the southwest. Also going to see some hefty showers, some warm air masses mixing in, so still the risk of some thunderstorms, especially into early next week. Temperatures, of course, will suffer as those cooler westerly flows do come in. But we're not expecting anything too cold at this stage. The winds are more from a flat westerly than a northwesterly. If that tilt did occur, then yes, it could get a bit fresher. But not expecting that in the short term. As we progress into the longer range, though, as we'll see from the GFS, GM and ECWF, no real changes are expected at this stage. We have to keep a close eye on some of the evolutions as we progress towards the middle third of September, because some fronts are starting to spin up some low pressure systems. Again, it's pretty typical as we head into the autumn. The tropospheric polar vortex starts to get going, the jet stream powers up, so I wouldn't be surprised if we did start to see some more severe lows moving through, because over the past few days, it's been low pressure systems around, small areas of instability that's pepped up the showers and storms, but we've not seen any huge explicit low pressure systems that have brought extremely strong winds, huge bands of rain up and down the country. We've not seen anything like that, but that could be something that does come to fruition as we head into the middle portion of the month. Some runs, as I said, are starting to pick up on some quite intense low pressure systems, bringing the risk of wind back into the equation. So do remember, if you enjoy my videos, do like and subscribe. Now, if we start on the live radar, we have seen another day of thunderstorms and generally heavy showers today. Still got a few heavy showers moving through as I'm calling this around 7 p.m, but most of the heaviest and thundery showers have now cleared out into the North Sea. You can see this little hook here. This is what gave us some really heavy rain across parts of the Midlands and northern England earlier today, with some more slow-moving areas of torrential downpours and thunderstorms as that cleared through. Yellow warning was issued earlier, it's now expired, but definitely was very warranted when this system moved through. Remaining, we've got more isolated showers. Some of them are still quite hefty. A few are thundery as well to the north of London. Got a quite hefty shower down towards the south coast, a few hefty showers. And then further north as well, still a few showers around. But these are going to slowly clear over the course of the evening. And as we progress into Friday, as I said, it's actually going to turn pretty dry indeed. Temperatures today haven't been particularly great. Again, further southwards where we had rain in the morning, but most of the afternoon has been sunshine with a few showers. Temperatures have risen to around 20 degrees, but further northwards a lot more light yellows and blues, indicating much cooler conditions because of the more persistent rain that we've seen during today. Now, if you look at the past 24-hour precipitation, you can see where all these showers have moved through. Again, you can see they're in a very much kind of a stream, especially coming in from the south and the southwest for parts of England there, especially southern and east England. These are where these hefty showers have moved through. So some areas not seeing much at all, other areas seeing a lot. And then you can see further northwards where that area of showers and storms pivoted earlier today, dumping a lot of rain there across parts of Midland and northern England. Now, though, this is all clearing through, and we should see near enough a bone dry next 40 hours or so. Now, if you look at the latest UKV, you can see all those showers clearing through the rest of this evening, and then as we head into Friday, look at this, pretty dry indeed. Yes, there's a few odd lighter showers out there, but they don't look intense really at all, and generally, we're going to see the sunshine coming through, which does look really quite decent indeed. So not really expecting too much in the way of adverse weather there through Friday. Into Saturday, it's similar conditions. Yes, there's a bit more cloud, especially in the west, and the precipitation starts to flirt with western parts of Republic of Ireland, but still generally it is dry. Into Sunday morning, though, the rain does approach. We see lines of heavy showers and some thunderstorms with those darker reds moving through. They look most intense in the west. Could be some warnings issued for this over the course of the weekend. But yeah, looking very intense in the west, dissipate away further eastwards as they come up against that wall of higher pressure, which is moving away, but it hangs on a little bit in the east, and that means that these bands of precipitation do struggle to move eastwards with the same intensity. The rainfall doesn't move through. We see those heftier showers clearing through Sunday evening, and then more bands of showers arrive for Monday. The east doesn't look terrible, but further westwards, lots of hefty showers. Again, this could change, could shift around as we get nearer to the time. And the same could be said for Tuesday, where more heavy showers, maybe a few thunderstorms moving through. So not looking at absolute washout conditions early part of next week, but definitely back to the more unsettled pattern that we've had over the past couple of days, with some areas perhaps further westwards into next week being the real focus point for really heavy rain, torrential downpours, and the risk of some thunderstorms. Now, if you look at the max temperatures this afternoon, really struggling for most, high teens at best, touching 20 degrees in the far southeast, but it's pretty disappointing because of all of that rain and cloud around. Into Friday, temperatures will be slightly higher, widely high teens or low 20s. Again, with the dry conditions, the temperatures are reciprocating there. Into Saturday, temperatures are even higher, maybe even at 20 to 23 degrees. As things look pretty decent indeed with that drier day. But into Sunday, unfortunately, it will deteriorate. The afternoon doesn't look too bad for the temperatures across central and eastern England, but it'll be much cooler further westwards, and of course the risk of showers moves in. And then as we head into Monday, still not too bad in the far east, could see a low 20s, but in the west turning much, much worse. And then finally into Tuesday, still maybe touching 21 or 22, but with that with all that rain in the west, again, mid-teens, maybe low teens in the worst spots. So it doesn't look like temperatures are going to dip too much into next week. It's said hovering around the average point still. But of course, the thermometer temperature says one thing, but there will be the feel-like temperature, which will be different. In the sunshine, it might be feel a bit warmer than 22 degrees, but in the rain and cloud, it will feel a lot cooler. Now, if you look at the GFS now, the latest GFS, you can see the low pressure systems moving through at the moment. High pressure, though, builds in from the near constant and holds off those lows through Friday and Saturday. Doesn't hold it off for much longer than that, though, with quite vicious lows starting to move back into early next week. And then we could start to see some more organised areas of low pressure moving through here towards day 10. Look at this more organised low riding the jet stream. Again, it doesn't turn into anything too intense at this stage, but definitely could do nearer the time. Longer range, high pressure does make a bit more of an influence, but again, I wouldn't trust this too much. We continue to see this from some of the charts, the long range charts, but it never really gets within the kind of 10 or 12 day time frame. So I suspect it's still likely to be unsettled until it's kind of the middle of the month at least. So perhaps slight improvements longer term, but in the meantime, around that medium term, looking even more unsettled with deeper lows and more horrific conditions to come in some areas. Now, if you compare to the GM, again, it's very similar over the next few days. Low pressure systems clearing, high pressure building in for a couple of days before those lows return. And then again, around day 10, we can see, or day 7 to day 10, we start to see more organised low pressure systems. So it wouldn't be an area of showers or clustering of showers and storms, more likely to be organised bands of precipitation. And also with these more organised low pressure systems, we'd see stronger winds. And you can see that on the southern flank of this system, very strong winds. We have seen some decently strong wind gusts this week, but they've not been organised, they've been within some downpours or squalls. But this is more of an organised low pressure system, more typical with autumn moving through, looking pretty vicious there out towards day 10, and could see further lows moving in there as we head around the middle of the month. Now, if you finish looking at the latest ECMWF, the midnight run, again, low pressure systems clearing away over the next day or so with high pressure returning. And then again, as we head towards the longer range, more lows moving through. Again, you can see this low moves very quickly here within that last 24 hours, skipping along the jet stream. Again, this sort of setup with the jet stream straight over the top of us. Again, we'd expect more organised areas of low pressure. And again, look at that. Lots of areas of strong, gusty, organised winds, and that could, as said, cause issues, more widespread issues, and bring us more typical autumnal conditions there as we head towards the middle of the month. Now, finally, if we look at the latest ensembles, these are the latest GFS just coming out as I'm recording this. Again, Temperatures rising a little bit over the weekend, and that's why temperatures could get into the low 20s. But it is coinciding with dry conditions, but dropping off very quickly into early next week, and we'll return back towards average or even below average there as we head towards the middle of the month. Precipitation turning really high there around the 10th to 12th of September. That's when those deeper lows and more organised low pressure systems could arrive, and that sort of pattern does continue into longer range as well. Perhaps not quite as unsettled there into the final few days of this run, but it's nothing really to write home about there. To be honest, we are seeing still a very unsettled pattern likely to continue, just perhaps a few runs showing some slightly higher pressure there. 2 meter temperatures rising a little bit over the next few days, but you can see progressively next week still could be decent Monday, Tuesday, but dropping off beyond that down towards perhaps the mid-teens for many, high teens maybe in the far southeast. And if we do compare to the ECMWF ensembles, again, it's broadly very similar. Upper air temperatures spiking this weekend, but dropping off very quickly into next week, returning back towards average and slowly dipping to perhaps below average by the middle of the month, and kind of hovering around there beyond that. Precipitation, though, looks very high indeed. Not ideal at all. Again, just showing you that although, yes, it's dry for the next 2 days, the very unsettled conditions are going to return, and as I said, could come with more organised lows, which could cause further issues there as we do progress into the middle portion of September. So yes, autumn has started on a very autumnal note. We are going to see a little bit of a change this weekend, but that sort of proper autumnal conditions is going to return next week. And as I said, we could see further gusty, stronger lows there towards the middle of the month. And yeah, we could see a real steamroll effect here from autumn. Hopefully we see some sort of return to summer at some point in the next kind of 3 or 4 weeks before we kind of get to early October. That's kind of the point where proper summer conditions, mid-20s and above, become almost impossible. Yes, there have been historic days later on, but it'll be very, very difficult, especially after the very wet last week or so we've had, and the next couple of weeks we are going to have. So fingers crossed we see some sort of pattern change, but from the looks of it, this could be it, unfortunately. This could be setting the theme for the next few weeks and for the autumn in general. But we'll wait and see. Definitely still things to play for. But at the moment, big headline is unsettled conditions, heavy rain and stronger winds to come. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. And I'll see you again for another video soon.